Hey, Nicole here. All right, we're going to talk about an interesting point in relationship astrology. This point is called the vertex, and you can find the vertex in everybody's birth chart. This is a point in the Western Hemisphere where the prime vertical and the ecliptic of the sun intersect one another. Okay, so it's an abstract point in the sky. There are many astrologers who don't use the vertex, and there are many who swear by it. So it's one of those sort of controversial astrology topics that I think is interesting and worth diving into. So this is meant to be just sort of a brief explanation of what the vertex is and how you can use it, and the ways that I found it helpful with my clients and in my studies of astrology. So the vertex in your birth chart, it's considered like our secondary descendant. So the descendant being that point in the chart that's opposite the ascendant exactly. It's in the opposite sign, same degree as your rising sign. And since the rising sign represents you and your persona, okay, it's you as an individual and the persona or the mask you wear, as the Forests, had talked about in their book. It's called like The Ascendant, the Mask We Wear, or something like that. But at any rate, the ascendant is your social, it's a social construct, right? It's kind of sort of like the ego. It's not who you really are necessarily. It's that part of you also in a new situation. It's how you'll approach a new situation, how you'll be rebirthed into new situations, okay? Opposite of it is the descendant. Descendant is the partner. It's an energy that's opposite what you natally, naturally move towards very easily. So that's why it represents the partnership or the partner. Now, to me, it's more the partnership itself. It's the sort of friendships you'll be attracted to, the one-on-one best friendships, the marital partnerships, the business partnerships, okay? Look at the ruler of the zodiac sign that's on the descendant, that's on the cusp. What is that ruler of that zodiac sign? Look at where that's at in your birth chart, the house that it's in, and then look at the aspects it makes to other planets, and it will tell you a lot about your attitude towards relationships. Now, the vertex is, to me, it's sort of like, I think of the North Node as our soul path. I think of the descendant as just the partner, the mundane, everyday, earthly partner. Okay, the vertex to me is like this more of a soulful partner. It's like a soulmate kind of a thing, or it is another human being that will come into your life and teach you the things that you need to learn at a particular time in space and time. Okay, now, most importantly, first of all, I think in transits and looking at progressions, with transits, you will see this vertex being conjuncted or opposed, occasionally squared, but conjunctions especially, by transiting planets such as Jupiter and Venus. The Sun too to a certain extent, but more so Jupiter and Venus in particular, Venus really in particular, because that shows us the nature of the transit, that this is someone coming into your life that is of a love or romantic nature. And Mars as well can activate this and can bring movement when it comes, maybe perhaps breaking up a current relationship to make space and room for someone new, that kind of thing, okay? It just depends on your chart. Also look at the ruler. Look at the ruler of this vertex just in your birth chart. So not looking at transits, but just in your birth chart. Let's look at where the ruler falls, okay? Look at where the ruler falls. Look at the conjunctions between the ruler of your vertex and your partner's chart. Do you see conjunctions between any of the luminaries, so the sun and the moon? Do you see conjunctions between personal planets, Venus, Mars, let's say? We'll talk about the romantic personal planets, right? Do you see or oppositions or squares? We really love conjunctions, and especially the smaller the orb, the better. Like, I like to see, less than one. I would look up to two, but I would say an orb of one or less is going to say this is a significant trigger. This person's hitting this point in you that is subconscious, because when we're dealing with anything that's taking into account these issues of sort of fate or soul path issues, these are things that are held within us in a place that's subconscious, that doesn't have words. And especially if you're looking at, you can do the same thing with the North Node. If someone is making a conjunction to your North Node through their ascendant, their sun, their moon, even their sun, moon, midpoint, I would say the same for the vertex, by the way, ascendant, sun, moon, midpoint, okay? But really, these main, sun, moon, midpoint's a great one, actually. If they make any kind of a contact to your sun, moon, midpoint in any way, shape, or form with their North Node, their vertex, then this is somebody that there's a fated or there is a reason you guys are in each other's life, okay? This is work to be done. It could be karmic. It could be, depends on the overall synastry between the two people. But really pay attention to the rulers of both the vertex and the north node, and the descendant too. The descendant's more just kind of the relationships you'll draw into your life, but the north node to me tells us that's the soul path. That's what you're supposed to accomplish in this life, and it's that part of you that you're not really great at, you haven't mastered yet, and it comes from this unconscious place, and you keep getting led towards the things that the zodiac sign on your north node represent, okay? Look at that zodiac sign, study it, understand the shadow side of it as well, understand the opposite sign, because that tells you you've mastered that area, and the south node, which is the exact opposite degree, it's the opposite sign in the same degree as your north node, will be the place that you unconsciously move to, okay? When you feel threatened, or when you have a new situation that you're unsure about, or to me it kind of pops out in these sort of crisis situations, you'll move to your south node. And even in a relationship, if you feel uncomfortable, you move into your south node. So I have a south node in Aries, so my natural tendency in a relationship, and it's in the 8th house, would be to break up with the person or leave, like abandon, run. Combining Aries desire for independence and the Scorpio desire for death and rebirth. So that's just my natural tendency, is just to cut ties and be gone. That's my shadow material. It's stuff I have to work on. So if that's the south node, the north node would be Libra, which would be the opposite energy in the 2nd house, which would be security, stability, creating oneness, harmonizing two people, and staying, finding a place of balance and commitment. Okay, so just using mine as an example to help you see how you can look at yours. But most importantly, that vertex, it's a very interesting point also with transits. So look at the transits first. If you've met someone, go back and look in the past when you've met someone significant. If you've got the date, look at the date. Look at what was happening to your vertex. Did you have any conjunctions from Sun, any conjunction from Venus, or Mars, or even Jupiter, right? Look at also where the ruler of that zodiac sign that your vertex is in. Look at where that ruler, the accidental ruler, which is the zodiac sign that's on the cusp. Look at the natural ruler of that house too. Just take a peek and look and see what that is and where it falls. Does that make aspects to your partner or to the relationship, composite chart, like the Davison chart? Because this will tell you some things about the nature of the relationship, okay? I hope that was helpful, and if you would like a relationship reading, we can do a full reading where we go into this, plus, it's 90 minutes of everything. So we do your birth charts first, which is those are separate readings, then we do the relationship, and find out a lot of information about your partnership. You can see the purpose between the two of you. Why are you in each other's lives? What is the point in participating in this relationship other than just, romance and love? There's a lot more to it than that, right? So reach out to me and I'm happy to do a reading for you. And I've also got a website. It's www.moderncosmic.com. I'm building it out right now, so I've got half of the lessons up and half of them are still being built out. So but come check it out, and yeah, love to talk to you soon. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.